Hello and good day, everybody. Today's webinar is about how to find the right business partner in China. My name is Martina Gerst and I'm working for the EU SME Center, a project financed by the European Commission that helps European small and medium-sized enterprises preparing to do business in China. We are providing a range of information, advice, training, and other support services. This project has been funded in 2010. We are based here in Beijing, and the project is implemented by the 6 chambers of commerces you can see below. We are very strong in terms of content and expertise. On our website you will find more than 140 comprehensive market reports and guidelines which are available for download. We have assisted in total and dealt with in total more than 3,600 inquiries from the 28 member states over the past 7 years, having about now more than 10,000 registered users so far. In Europe and China we carried out more than 400 trainings, and now I think that's the 120th or 121st webinar with like almost 19,000 participants. Since we are a small project, we need to be very well connected, so we have a large network of support partners in the European Union as well as in China, but we also work very closely together with almost 200 experts in an expert network in Europe and China as well. That's me again. I'm here in China since more than 12 years now and mostly work on technical topics. One of them is standardization and conformity, but I also look into technology related fields like IPR and ICT. So since China is a country where business partners play an important role, we talk today about the different types of business partners, and I will bring an example. We will talk about the agent. There will be a part of the presentation dealing with due diligence. Jobs will be a topic, then scams, and at the very end we will do a recap of all the information you got through the webinar with a bit of a practical guidance. So that's the content. That's the content of today. I already mentioned China is a country where business partners are playing an important role. Business partners are not only providing language translation or purchasing services, you might know already, but their very strong point is supporting exporting companies from Europe, navigating the very complex market access system. To have the right business partner is very crucial when entering the Chinese market for the first time, and there are sectors that requiring pre-market approval, for example medical devices. So the selection, for example, of a good agent in China helps to simplify substantially the interpretation of the regulatory requirement, and also clarifies the necessary information and documentation on the side of an exporting company. Here you see an overview of the different business partners. So trade between Europe and China involves different types of those business partners. not only when importing but also when exporting to China. And while for imports, purchasing agents and distributors are very well established, the picture looks differently for exporting products. So in many cases, companies start to export their products using third-party intermediaries, for example, including agents, distributors, licensees, franchisors, and so on. So here very clearly, what are the different types? You see them here on the slide, and what can you expect? So what do they do? So an agent, for example, we will look at that a bit later, more in detail. The agent can keep track of regulatory updates, collects market data, but also has a license to deal and representing you in front of the authorities. A distributor is buying your products directly on a higher risk and responsibility, and they also have then an incentive to sell your products. A licensee, for example, covers areas such as technology transfer, copyrights, and trademarks. However, before engaging in licensing, it is important that you register your company's IPR to the relevant bodies in China. The franchising system is the same than everywhere, so a franchisee pays a royalty and possibly an initial fee to conduct business under the franchise's name and system. So here, franchise agreements are usually lasting for 3 years. The Chinese regulations state that only enterprises may be franchisors. And then very popular those days are online retailing platforms. They are very popular now. So marketing on such platforms can be difficult due to language barriers, for example. And then there are others like joint venture partners, landlord offices, service providers, and so on. I mentioned already one of the key roles in the whole business partner thing is market access. So in the area of market access, where companies face a number of questions regularly, it is challenging to find a reliable agent, because, for example, in medical devices, there is at least one or several pre-market approval schemes. These existing licensing schemes are controlled by various ministries based on technical regulations, national or trade sector standards. However, it comes under the joint responsibility not only of the government but also of the exporting company to do everything correctly. All medical devices entering the Chinese market are required to obtain the pre-market approval from the Chinese Food and Drug Administration. So the CFDA, which is the abbreviation of it, regulates standards for medical devices, the classification management of it, and supervises issues such as quality, callbacks of medical devices which have entered the market. So how would you start to find one? To give an example, you would, for example, participate in a trade fair. You are getting recommendations from industry colleagues, but you also could have a booth on a trade fair. In terms of how to continue, if you have found one, then one way to clarify your thoughts is to develop a partner profile and compare the different candidates against a standard set of criteria. You might have done this already for other countries or in your individual country as well. So it helps to have a checklist where questions could be asked like the following. So in terms of product and service knowledge, do you have experience with medical devices? How are you going to support me? So in this case, a service proposal is important. Then the next block of questions could deal with management and stability. How about experiences with other customers? What are financial resources or the credit rating? Block number 3 is the compatibility with your company. So what's the size of your business, number of staff, what's the staff's qualification and working experience in medical devices. And last but not least is location and facilities. So where and what facilities do you have for customer access? How is the whole business operation run? China is classifying medical devices into class 1, 2 and 3. The classification system is based on risk of using the device, and there are agents dealing with level 1 and 2, so they don't have to apply for a license, whereas where an agent is dealing with level 3 devices, it should hold a so-called medical device trading enterprise license from CFDA. So that's quite important here in that area. Next steps are that you draft agreement or contract with the agent. This will be a legal document, and here is where we strongly recommend you to seek professional legal advice with international contract law experts to support you drafting this. A contract should include, for example, a clear definition of roles and responsibilities of you and the agent. There should be no ambiguities or unclear areas. So the product scope or the service scope should be included, the area covered, payment conditions, furthermore reporting and communications. Yeah. We also, in terms of if you would like to get more information here, we have written a guideline about how to find the right intermediary or agent, for example, for the pre-market approval of medical devices or cosmetics. You can also find more and detailed information of the recently updated medical devices sector report, I think, which came out in September 2017. Another important step when looking for the right business partner actually is due diligence. So why is due diligence important? It is important because you will be likely confronted with the option of working with a local partner. And due diligence basically is the act of evaluating a prospective business decision by getting information about the financial, legal, operational and reputational state of another party. So when due diligence is well done, researched and conducted on a potential partner, it can help you really to avoid a number of common China partnership pitfalls, as we call them. There is definitely a need for due diligence. You can see this here, like from a Chinese point of view. Here we quote a Chinese lawyer who has put this on a blog, who is himself sometimes quite surprised why companies do not investigate more thoroughly and taking less risk in finding the right business partner. So what are actually the things we are looking for? Basically, we are doing due diligence. We would like to identify, for example, fake companies. Fake companies are very clearly potential partners that may not exist at all. A second group are what we call the paper tigers, where a potential partner is promoting itself as a leading company in the industry, but it is an imposter or also doesn't really exist. The third group you see here on this slide is a shell company. So this means that a potential partner may possess all the required registration information, but has no significant assets or active business records. What you also will find quite often is an opportunistic company. That's one where we would say that's a potential partner that may have good intentions, but really a lack of experience. This company will be also overly optimistic about its own abilities, and it's very often coupled with a mistaken belief that cutting corners and operating in a legally grey area is possible. But this partner probably will be unable to live up to its part of the bargain. So we would recommend always check the basic facts to find out whether the company is really ready to deliver what they say. So what you can do as well is conduct general online research, and please use both English and Chinese search engines. Call the general fixed phone line to make sure that your contact person or the person you are in contact with really works there. Try to get foreign references and call them, talk to them, if possible visit them. Try to find out whether the address is true, is this really office or production facility. You can also obtain the administration and industry and commerce files, and one of the really important things is a bank account where you may have to send money really is on the name of the partner. And then last but not least, it's also important to see what gets into the container. A very worthwhile source is the State Administration of Industry and Commerce Database. It's usually a 5 minutes check, and that's the easiest way to check whether a potential partner holds a business license, and that's the online company registration system. Unfortunately, this website is only available in Chinese. So when searching for a company, select the province where the company is located, and then perform a search query on the Chinese company name or the company registration number. It is important to obtain the full Chinese name of your potential partner. Should the company claim that it has only an English name, well, by definition it is not incorporated in China. So the Chinese name is very important. What can be checked online? You see here some examples. So from company name, you already mentioned that, and the registered address. One of the crucial things is the business license number and the business scope. So the business scope is very crucial because it defines what is allowed and what's not allowed. Also very important is the legal representative, because there is only one to be allowed to be the representative of the company. You also can find mortgages or the status of a company, if it's active or deregistered or probably suspended, because there have been, they appear on this what we call abnormal or blacklist. So this does not necessarily mean that the company is bad, but probably the company hasn't paid taxes or they haven't provided other documentation and so on and so forth. What is also important is to ask for the different licenses and certificates. So certain business activities require special permits, and they are issued by different state authorities, which are usually responsible for supervising the related industry. So by looking at the business scope on the business license, you will get a better understanding of the permits to request from your potential partner. So for example, for an importer or exporter, they would need an import or export license. For a supplier, There should be special permits for example, manufacturing a product. So industry-specific licenses, but also like the right to use land or lease agreements. Also important in that context are the intellectual property rights certificates. A further topic I would like to mention in terms of finding the right business partner is the whole topic jobs. Jobs are a very important thing in China because to be considered official, any document in China needs to be affixed with a company stamp or a job. So the company stamp is the official signature of the company and must be affixed on every important document you receive. The importance and use of the company stamp in China is the same as the signature of a CEO or general manager in Europe. So without it, the document can easily be questioned and as not being official. So two important questions required to be asked about the company stamp when finding or looking for a business partner in China is this company stamp genuine, and has it been used by the authorized company representative? Here you can see it. The official stamp is circular or oval, it's in red ink, and then the name of the company is in Chinese characters, and it's completely legible. Here you very clearly see non-official jobs. So those jobs here, the first two are usually used in Hong Kong. All the others are just not official. So please be aware of that. Again, other official jobs besides the company job are jobs for finance or HR, and it really binds the company. So it is vital to confirm the validity of a company job to ensure that your potential partner is a legitimate business partner. This could be undertaken by a local Chinese lawyer, or you might want to see the PSB, but it's sometimes not so easy to get appointments. In the same context, as I already mentioned, the signature of a legal representative is also binding, and he or she also might have their personal job. Besides this, what you can check online and the jobs, it is also important to get financial data about your business partner. So here the important questions to ask is the partner's company capital or liability sufficient? And what is the current financial situation? So inaccurate financial reporting is common in China to the extent that many companies possess 2 or even 3 sets of books, one for the tax bureau, one for investors, and one for senior executives. So that's mainly to circumvent taxes. However, practice can cast shadows over the true financial health of a potential partner company. It is therefore tricky yet vital to learn the accurate financial position of the potential partner. So it is quite easy to get that, or easier to get that with if the potential business partner is cooperating. So you can ask for bank reference letters, for example, or financial statements or tax returns. It's a bit more complicated if the potential partner is not cooperating with you. However, then you can try to contact the AIC or the Supreme Court database. However, it's much more difficult to get this information. Besides the financial data, the operational due diligence is also quite important. So conduct thorough site visits, because it's important and crucial to find the right partner in the long run. So it's also good to know about the partner's attitude to quality and reputation. Here are important questions to ask. Okay, are the premises and the equipment appropriate for the business? What do companies, suppliers, competitors and customers say? What's the company's verifiable track record and relevant experience? What's the organizational structure, and so on. So it's really important to visit every one of your potential partners' business premises, including factories, offices, warehouses, and do it a number of times, both unannounced and announced, to really analyze the company's daily business process. This clearly will help you to ensure that the partner company is legit, matches the business scope on its business license, and can fulfill business requirements. In this context, another important point is to talk to the stakeholders. So if you have a chance, talk to employees on all levels. Talk to the neighbors. They may have spotted suspicious activities, or to competitors. They may have inside knowledge. Talk to suppliers, but also customers. We already mentioned references are important. And check with the regulators, with the Administration of Industry and Commerce, and other related government organizations to complete the picture. Media coverage also sometimes might help. However, in the past 7 years, we find as well scams sometimes in China. Scams are not unique to China. You will find them everywhere. But the thing is that China is quite distant from your home country. You will find another language, a completely different business culture. So here you see a couple of scam warning signs. Actually, for example, something you might have stumbled already over is if the offer or the proposal just sounds too good to be true, or you are getting an unsolicited request where you should be really cautious. The company has no email address, or you have to pay a full upfront payment, and so on. So here on the left side you see the different types of scams. For example, as I mentioned before, there might be no worthless delivery. So sometimes the container has nothing, or just not the right goods they should be delivered. Facilitation fees are asked for. Another scam very often found is the fake representative. And due diligence would have brought that your contact doesn't work for the counterparty, or that the documents even are all fake. And also sometimes even emails are hacked, or bank accounts are just changed. This does not only happen in China, but if one accesses the China market and looking for potential business partners, this is also one of the things one should think of. So to recap, some practical guidance for SMEs to set their mind who would like to enter the Chinese market. What is to be expected? So from the angle to expect to be cheated, well, assume nothing is genuine unless proven otherwise. Because documents may be fake, I mentioned this. Companies or factories or even assets may not exist. So it's very, very important to use multiple independent sources to verify information. because it is not so easy to manipulate everything. And then, expect the unexpected, to be really prepared. If a scam happened, well, very often little can be done. The swindlers know right from the start that you will come after them, so they will cover their tracks. It's not so easy to report and to get a case accepted at the Public Security Bureau. And since China is a big country, do not expect any active or sophisticated investigation. Also, genuine business disputes are different. Sometimes there was not even an intention to default from the outset. So act swift and determined, and apply pressure if it's possible. So, for example, stopping delivery or freeze bank accounts. We recommend the do's, as we say that. So do not act when things are too smooth or too fast, or if it's too cheap, then just do not engage. That's the number one. And then things, check first really, bank account. Is the bank account in the name of the bank account the same as in the contract? Is the account number the same on all the invoices? What about website? Be very suspicious if websites are only in English. Usually Chinese companies would first do a Chinese website and then probably English sites. Try to call a few times the fixed phone line, check email addresses, and be suspicious when the contact person is changing or the communication style. Support you can get from different angles. Ask companies in your industry, do quality checks or container loading supervision. Here in China and also in Europe, you can find a lot of market entry consultants, lawyers, accountants, and so on. Of course, you have to do the math, so a cost-benefit analysis is really necessary. However, our experience really is that outside help is definitely cheaper than when things really go wrong. The EU SME Center also has a legal team which can help with like the online due diligence and check contracts. So this was already a lot of information to find the right business partner and the different signposts to take into consideration when entering the Chinese market. You can find more information on our website, where you can register for free. You can also ask, once registered, specific questions on today's topic, like how to find the right business partner in China. But you also can find market reports and guidelines I previously mentioned. So thank you very much for your attention to today's webinar on how to find the right business partner. We regularly do webinars, not only in this area, but in various others. For example, for medical devices, the medical devices market, and then how to do the pre-market approval. So there is a guideline and webinars. We also offer on-site trainings if you are interested, and you will find all this on our website. Of course, you can also follow us on WeChat. And that's it for today. I hope you got some interesting information. Thank you for your time and have a great day. Bye-bye.